All right, with all the strife in the world, you could argue it's time for a benevolent dictator, right? I'm not talking about someone like dear leader in North Korea. The very meaning of benevolent is well-meaning and kindly. This would be someone who would use their power for the benefit of everyone. Someone to navigate us through the Federal Reserve's machinations and keep us calm and carrying on when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. So after a few moments of deep thought, it came to me that we have the very person on this show today to be queen for a day. All right, please welcome Rebecca Walser from Walser Wealth. Rebecca is queen for a day, your Royal Highness. What are the things that you would do to get us out of this mess?
Well, the first thing is obviously, Scott, we can see that we're heavily dependent on, when we're not energy independent, we're heavily dependent on what the world does. And so I think that that is a wake up call. And I know it's not the top wake up call, and so these are not in order of priority, but I definitely would bring us back to the 2020 level, reinstate all of the oil and gas leases that were previously approved, and get us back to energy independence immediately. This is a country that is not opposed to moving to green energy. We are not opposed to that. I think most people are for that, but they want to know they're going to be able to bake their bread and drive their car in the meantime until we're fully there. So we can't kill off bad energy until we have a replacement, and we just don't have the infrastructure in place yet. So that's number one. We've got to do something about this energy. It is crippling. It is crippling for our economy, and we know that. Scott, we also have to get a handle on our supply chains. It was really ironic to me when we were in the middle of Corona and we shut down the whole world, and then we were getting our pharmaceuticals, as we do, from China. And I thought, my God, if this actually was, this is a hypothetical, people, if this was a biologically engineered weapon, and then we had to depend on the country who engineered that weapon to send us our pharmaceuticals to deal with it, that would be a really bad way to get rid of the United States. So that is a problem. Our supply chains, to the dependency on China, the world's dependency on China. There was a little bit of movement in the Trump administration, moving some of those things to Vietnam and what have you, but not nearly to the extent that we saw. And then, of course, Scott, last and finally, I would say that we have to deal with our money supply issues. We have to deal with the fact that the world printed $25 trillion of currency through the last 22 months and counting, and it has perpetuated an inflationary bubble that we are not prepared to handle or deal with, and we must get our handle on that. We must get the reins on that immediately. We cannot keep perpetuating this illusion of a great economy, a great market, when it all depends on accommodative policies from the Fed since 2008.
Oh, I wholeheartedly would support you on, 100% on all of those ideas. And in my 35 years in the business, I had to lose a lot of money, and it took me a few years to figure this out. But it's the difference between what I think should happen and what's going to happen. Okay.
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
Everything you just said, I think should happen. Now, what do we think's going to happen, right? Let's talk about oil. I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
Well, we see right now the EU pushing back against Russia. We see Germany pushing hard against Russia, and that is going to have a huge impact. But this is a problem, right? Because now that America has sort of let go of our energy independence, Russia was the second largest producer, obviously, then Saudi Arabia and all the OPEC nations. So this is a problem, Scott.
I know. Well, it was summed up in a meme I saw the other day. I just filled up my car with gas so I can go home and have a nice warm place to die in. It's not to that point yet. Obviously, I make fun of that, but it's at the same time. I think it's going to happen I'll take a little bit. I think it's going to happen in Europe first, and I think that you've got Germany. If Granny starts to freeze and you can't feed her, then you're going to have a different Germany, which I think is already starting to happen.
Yeah, and Scott, I'm going to give a warning to all of our viewers here because it's true. There are certain people in the world that would like to see sort of a energy collapse and sort of a ripping away, if you will, of us being so heavily reliant on our modern times world and moving back to a place where energy is not readily available so that we can introduce these green energies that are a lot less efficient with a lot more. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I'm not saying this was a designed plan for Russia to do this, but I will tell you that there are certain groups that are going to pounce on any opportunity to seize to get the world away from the modern conveniences that we get through petroleum products, plastics, energy, all kinds of oil and produced products into green technologies. And I would hate to see them leverage such an opportunity as this, because we are talking about being relegated back to I don't want to say the dark ages, but we don't haven't ever seen it, right, Scott? We've
No.
never lived in that time where we didn't have the ability to heat our home, run our cars, turn on our lights, and have multiple. I was saying to a group that really is it's going to CSR now. It's ESG is done and it's moving to CSR.
Explain that for the viewers real quick, listeners and viewers.
Yes. So ESG is the current green movement, but it's moving away from ESG, which is environment, governance, and sustainability, or ESG. I did it backwards, to CSR, which is corporate social responsibility. And I know, I'm in the Global Executive MBA program at the London School of Economics. That's a handful there. But the point is that what Europe and the European Union is really doing is looking to IFRS, or accounting regulations, to start implementing a lot of these green technologies and these green methodologies, to start grading companies on their balance sheets how much.
That's a very dangerous way. That's a very dangerous world to go. I mean, look, that's this. Everybody wants cleaner air and cleaner water. Just make the sale a little bit, better to me, because, we're doing a lot on our own.
Yes.
Things have gotten. The Mississippi River in the last 100 years is the cleanest it's ever been, and we only have 1% of the pollutants we had in the Mississippi in 1980, and there wasn't anything there except for people just wanting to do better. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. That was awesome stuff. Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Thank you,
really
Scott.
appreciate you being on your a great queen for the day, Your Royal Highness. Thank you for all those great ideas. I really appreciate it. She's coming to us from Tampa. All right, when looking at the